Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa and members of his cabinet, such as the Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan, will be under pressure to come up with a more concrete plan to address the energy crisis when an urgent cabinet meeting sits tomorrow. So what are the hopes then among ordinary South Africans who've had to now make alternative plans to get around the frustrating load-shedding schedule? Let's bring in our politics editor, Lukhanyo Calata, because you've been out, Lukhanyo, as the politician's baker, to get the views of people who very often cannot afford to make a plan B when these blackouts occur.
Tamagila, good afternoon. Yes, of course. Ultimately, it's just the normal and ordinary South African that suffers and has to live through, stage 6 load shedding. Remember, stage 6 means that at some point during the day, there is a 4-hour block when just normal people do not have electricity. So we, after trying to get some answers from Eskom as well as from the presidency this morning, we thought, why not find out from ordinary South Africans what they make of this meeting that has been called for tomorrow and whether or not something positive will come out of it. So I'm joined now by just 3 lovely young ladies for us to get your opinions on tomorrow's cabinet meeting. Do you think something positive will come out of there?
Well, we all hope and pray something positive will come out of it, but in my opinion, I have no hope at the moment. The man on the street suffer, we suffer. Business is closed in that, but the man at the bottom, it's like as if the president never think of the man at the bottom. He's only. So I would like to say, dear Mr. President, please think of a man on the street and everybody else, not just yourself.
All right, ma'am, thank you very much for that. And you, do you think something positive will come out of tomorrow's cabinet meeting?
I also definitely hope that something does come out. I feel that South Africa has really suffered economically, and we really do struggle to keep the economic flow going with the load shedding, especially now that we are at stage 6. But I really truly hope that something does come about, but I do have my doubts.
What would you like to say to the president?
I'd like to plead with him to maybe consider a more sustainable and permanent solution to the load shedding crisis, because it is a crisis, not the first time it is occurring, but we do plead for a more permanent solution.
All right. One last, your answer to that question. Do you think that something positive is likely to come out of that meeting tomorrow?
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, what is it now that they're going to decide on that that they haven't been able to implement before? Why now all of a sudden? Why do we have to get to stage 6 before they start implementing something that will actually resolve the matter, as she said, permanently? So I hope so. However, I'm very doubtful. I mean, if anything, we've been taught that whatever our government decides on and whatever strategies they implement, we must just take it with a pinch of salt. So I'm doubtful, but I'm interested to see what they will decide, and yeah, we'll be tuning in.
All right. Ladies, thank you very much. We really do appreciate your time and your opinions. Thank you. All right, Temagila, well, there you have it. Just ordinary South Africans. They know that this meeting will be taking place tomorrow, but so much of them are doubtful that those discussions are going to lead to something that will ultimately better their lives in the long run when it comes to this issue of load shedding. Temagila?
Before I let you go, the other issue that Cabinet will have to grapple with was that in July we had that big announcement where among the issues announced, the interventions announced was going to be an easier access, if you will, for people to be able to procure from independent power producers. But given the fanfare at the time, 2 months later, it seems to have been quite underwhelming in terms of delivery.
It has been pretty much underwhelming, Tamagila. I agree with you that at the time when the president made that announcement, it sounded as if, steps were going to be taken urgently to get us out of the hole that we were back in, just earlier this year. But then again, this weekend, we found ourselves once again having to suffer through stage 6 load shedding. Again, that prompted Eskom to then, put out an announcement. saying that they were urgently going to acquire around 1,000 megawatts from independent power producers quite urgently, and hopefully that will then help stem the tide of stage 6 or stage 4 or stage 5 power cuts. The thing is, though, Thembekile, that when we are at stage 6, it means that the Eskom has to shed about 6,000 megawatts of electricity. Hence, a blackout of about 4 hours in terms of its duration. So when Eskom then buys 1,000 megawatts, but you have to shed 6,000, how is that going to solve the problem? I just think that as things stand at the moment, we're likely to continue to see blackouts, for the foreseeable future, unfortunately, Thembekile.
Lukhanyo Calata, Newzroom Afrika politics editor, thank you for that reporting.